Up to now, we have seen about the H parameter analysis for the differential amplifier and its comparison also. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the differential amplifier with the swamping resistors. So I will tell you why we are going for the swamping resistor model. Okay, so we know that the differential amplifier has a gain AD is equal to RC by small re, where small re is the AC emitter resistance of our differential amplifier, that is depending upon the IC value. Okay, so Re is equal to 26 millivolts divided by IC. So the value of Re is indirectly proportional to the IC. Therefore, if IC increases, the value of Re decreases. Why IC increases? So the value of IC is not a constant value, it varies with the temperatures. Okay, so it is depending or it is varying with the external factors like a temperature. The value of small re is also getting changed when the temperature increases or decreases. In order to make our gain, differential gain, independent of the temperature, we are going for the differential amplifier with swamping resistors. Okay, let us move into the our topic. To achieve high input resistance, external resistance Re dash are connected in series with each emitter of each transistor of differential amplifier. Such resistances are called swamping resistors. So the main reason to go for the swamping resistors is to achieve high input resistance and also make the gain, differential gain, independent of the temperature. We are going for the swamping resistors circuit. Okay, so the effect of swamping resistances on the performance of differential amplifier are which increases the input resistance. As we are adding the swamping resistors to our circuit, it increases the input resistance of our circuit. So what is the use of having more input resistance? If the input resistance is increased, then our circuit, our amplifier circuit will not give loading effect for the source. Okay, if our input resistance is less, then this circuit will be load for the source. Okay, so in order to eliminate the loading effect, the input resistance of any amplifier must be high, so that we can achieve using the swamping resistors. And the next advantage is minimization of changes in the transistor parameters due to factors like temperature. So as we already discussed, so by using this we can minimize the variation. So as the temperature increases, the reverse leakage current increases. As leakage current increases, IC current increases. Okay, so when IC increases, then the AC emitter resistance also increases. That will varies the gain of our amplifier. Okay, so these all are dependent parameters. So depending on the temperature, so that effect will be minimized when we use the swamping resistors. And reduction in the differential gain, the gain also will get decreases, and increase in the linear range of differential amplifier. Okay, so the differential amplifier has the linear range, linear in the sense, so input and output both are varying in the same order. Okay, so these all are the effects of using the swamping resistances in our circuit. So let us see the circuit of a differential amplifier using the swamping resistors Re dash. So this is the circuit. So here everything is same except these will these emitters are having Re dash resistances. These two are called as swamping resistors. Okay, so let us do the analysis for this differential amplifier with swamping resistors. Okay, so apply KVL to the input side circuit. Here we have the input side circuit. So in this circuit, VBE is the base to emitter voltage, IB is the base current flowing in the base of Q1, and IE is the emitter current flowing in the emitter of Q1 transistor. And from the right hand side one more IE current from the Q2 transistor will come, and at this node these two IE current will get joined, so will get added. After that it becomes as 2 IE current which flows in RE resistance, emitter resistance. Okay, this RE dash is a swamping resistor and this RE is the emitter resistance. Okay, so in this loop we are going to apply the KVL formula. Okay, so here RS1 is taken as RS because RS1 is equal to RS2 is equal to RS. Okay, so if we start from here, RS into IB plus VBE base to emitter voltage plus this current IE into RE dash plus 2IE into RE. 2IE into RE is equal to VEE. Here, as we are doing DC analysis, all the AC sources must be 0. Here V1 is 0, that's why we are not mentioning V1 here. The only DC source present here is minus VEE, so that is represented here. Okay, so next thing, we know that the IB can be replaced as IE by beta. How it can be? We know that IB is equal to IC by beta, or IC is equal to beta times of IB current. Okay, IC is equal to beta times of IB, so that we can write IB is equal to IC by beta, and we know IE is approximately equal to IC. IE current and IC current both are approximately same, so that's why we can write IB as IE by beta. Okay, RS into IE by beta plus VBE plus RE dash IE plus 2 IE/RE is equal to VEE. So you can observe here IE is present in these three terms, IE, IE, IE. Okay, then we can common the IE in the three terms, and then also we can transfer this VBE to the right hand side, so which becomes VEE minus VBE, and we can rearrange the equation in order to get the IE value. IE is equal to VEE minus VBE. Okay, minus VBE by the remaining terms RE dash plus 2RE plus RS by beta. Okay, so this is what we got. And one more thing, we know RS by beta is a very small value, hence we can neglect it too. Okay, next thing, we have to calculate the output voltage. The VCEQ is equal to VCC plus VBE plus ICQ RC. Okay, now this is the output voltage equation. So these two are the Q points, the Q point current and the Q point voltage of our differential amplifier using swamping resistors. So here you can see IE is approximately equal to IC, that is nothing but our Q point current ICEQ. Okay, here VCE is our output voltage when the no input is applied, and that is equal to the VCEQ point current. So the voltage gain AD can be given as RC by RE plus capital RE. So here what we can observe, in normal differential amplifier AD is equal to RC by small re only. Okay, so here we are getting the plus RE in the denominator section. Okay, so that we can say this voltage gain AD is not only depending upon the AC resistance RE, it is also depending upon the RE dash. Okay, so the next thing, the input resistance RA1, that is RA2 also equal to 2 beta RE plus RE dash. Okay, so here in general it is 2 beta RE only, so here RE is getting added with the swamping resistor value RE dash, and the output resistance value as seen from the output side is RO1 is equal to RO2 is equal to RC, the collector resistance of our differential amplifier. Okay, this is the analysis of differential amplifier with swamping resistors. Next thing, we are going to see about methods of improving CMRR. So we already know CMRR is equal to the common mode rejection ratio. CMRR is equal to common mode rejection ratio of our amplifier. So why we need CMRR? So our differential amplifier is designed to amplify the different voltages, not the same voltages. Okay, if we give the same value, which means that if our differential amplifier is operating in a common mode, the common mode in the sense giving same input signals to the both inputs of our differential amplifier, okay, then definitely our differential amplifier has to reject the signal, the both signals are same, so that it has to give zero output. If it is zero output means it is rejecting the input signal. Okay, so in practical what is happening, the differential amplifier output is also depending upon the common mode voltage, which is the average of the input signals. Okay, so that we are getting some output voltage even though the input signals are same. Okay, so the CMRR will tells us how our amplifier can reject the common mode signal. Okay, so that the CMRR must be high in a differential amplifier in order to eliminate the common mode signals. Okay, and we already derived the equation for the CMRR, which is AD by AC, where AD is the differential gain and AC is the common mode gain. So from this equation we can say the CMRR is inversely proportional to the AC, the common mode gain. So if AC is large value, then the CMRR is less. If the AC is a small value, then the CMRR is large. Okay, so our intention is to get the large CMRR, so that's why AC must be low value. Okay, to maintain the CMRR as high, AC should be low value. And we know the AC equation, the common mode gain, AC or ACM is equal to output voltage divided by the common mode voltage, which is equal to minus HFE RC divided by HIE plus 1 plus HFE into 2RE. Okay, this is the equation for the common mode gain of our differential amplifier. So in this we can say that the common mode gain ACM is inversely proportional to the value of RE resistance what we are using in the emitter branch. Okay, so that if we maintain the RE as large as possible, then you can get the AC as low value. Okay, as the value of RE is large, we can get low AC. If the AC gain is less, then we can get more CMRR. Okay, so that we can say if we want to increase the CMRR value, the common mode rejection ratio value, then definitely we have to increase the value of RE. Okay, if we increase the emitter resistance value, then what happens, we can get the more CMRR value. Okay, so therefore AC is inversely proportional to the RE, emitter resistance. So RE should be maximum. Okay, if RE is taken as maximum, then we can the following drawbacks. So if the value of RE is large, then we can have the following drawbacks. What are they? The chip area will increases. Okay, as the RE value is large, then as we are fabricating our differential amplifier and the op amp in an IC configuration, in order to develop more resistance, the area needed for developing the chip or IC will be increases. Therefore, the size of the IC also increases and the cost increases. In order to develop more resistance, more cost is needed. Okay, so and the power consumption increases. If more resistance is used, means more power will be consumed. Okay, these are all the drawbacks that we are using more resistance RE in the emitter branch. Okay, if we are using high resistance value in the emitter branch, then we have these three drawbacks. Okay, in order to eliminate this, okay, in order to eliminate these drawbacks in the place of RE, we can use the following methods. As we are having some problems by increasing the RE, we are going for the alternative methods to increase the RE value without having the drawbacks. Those are the constant current source bias method, the constant current source bias method, and the next method is the current mirror method. These two methods are very important methods. So those are useful to increase our CMRR without increasing the value of our RE. Okay, so the method one is constant current source bias method, and the second method is a current mirror method. Okay, in these methods what we are going to use is, instead of RE we are placing one constant current source. This current source will offer high resistance value. By using this method we can have a constant current as well as high resistance value. Okay, those two are the advantages of using the constant current source bias and the current mirror method. Let us quickly move into the constant current source bias method. In the constant current source bias method, the emitter current IE is depending upon the beta value. So we already know IC is equal to beta times of IB, and IC is approximately equal to IE. Therefore, IE is equal to beta times of IB. So which means that IE is depending on the value of beta. To make the operating point the stable, IE current should be constant irrespective of the beta. So in order to make our operating point stable irrespective of other external factors like temperature, so we should maintain IE as constant current. Okay, so for maintaining the constant IE current, the value of RE should be very large. Okay, in order to get a constant IE current, the resistance RE, the emitter resistance must be very large. Okay, so as the value of RE increases, therefore IE is constant, and also which will improve the CMRR, the common mode rejection ratio. But if we increase the value of RE, then we will have some disadvantages. We will see if RE value is increased to very large, therefore IE current will decreases. If IE decreases means the Q point, IE is nothing but our ICQ, the Q point of our differential amplifier, that will get decreases. Okay, so we cannot make more value of RE in order to get a constant IE current. Okay, so that we are going for the constant current source bias method. In this we can virtually generate a very large value of RE instead of maintaining as a resistor. Okay, instead of maintaining RE as a resistor, we are using a constant current source. Okay, that current source will offer high value of resistance. Okay, so let us see the circuit for the constant current source bias method. This is a dual input balanced output differential amplifier in which the emitter resistance RE was replaced with a constant current source circuit. This circuit will provide a constant current for us. Okay, so let us see the derivation for this. So VB3 is the voltage at this node, okay, base of the transistor Q3. That's why it is named as VB3, the third transistor base voltage. Okay, so this VB3 is equal to minus VEE into R2 by R1 plus R2. Okay, so by using this formula we can get, okay, here this is a closed loop, so that VEE into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Then next VE3, the voltage at the emitter branch of our circuit. Here VE3. So VE3 can be calculated as VB3 minus VBE3. So VBE3 in the sense base to emitter voltage of the third transistor. Therefore VE3 is equal to VB3 minus VBE3. Then only we will get a VE3 value. Now we know the value of VB3 we are replacing here. Instead of VB3, this equation is going to replace. R2 minus R2 by R1 plus R2 into VEE minus VBE3. Okay. Next, we have to calculate the IE3 current. IE3 or IB3 here written, that is nothing but IE3. IE3 current we will get by VE3 minus of minus VEE by RE value. Okay. So because IE3 is the emitter current flowing in the transistor Q3, that we can get by subtracting VE3 emitter voltage minus the biasing voltage divided by the RE resistance. Okay. So here IE3 or IBE3 is equal to VE3 minus of minus VEE by RE resistance value. Okay. Now this IE3 emitter current is approximately equal to the IC3, the collector current of the transistor. IC current is equal to IE current. That's why IE3 is equal to IC3. That is mentioned here. IE3 or IB3 is equal to IC3. Therefore, we can write IC3 is equal to VE3 value we calculated from here. Okay. Now just substituting those values. Okay. So here VE, this will become the plus VE, minus of minus will becomes plus VE minus VE3 is equal to this one minus R2 by R1 plus R2 into VEE minus VBE3 by RE resistance value. Okay, because we have the two amplifier sections here and these two amplifier sections are symmetrical. Okay, so each has half of the current IC3. This IC3 current is a combination of these two emitter currents, the emitter current of the Q1 and emitter current of the Q2. So that's why even though in the last derivation here we have mentioned it as 2IE. Okay, like that we mentioned 2IE in the sense what? IE from the Q1, IE from the Q2. IE plus IE is 2IE. Therefore, we can represent IC3 is equal to 2 IE currents. Okay, that's why IE1 is equal to IE2 is equal to IC3 divided by 2 because it is only half. Okay, so each emitter current is the half of the IC3 current. That is equal to VEE minus R2 by R1 plus R2 VEE minus VBE by 2RE. Okay, in this equation, if you observe, if we select the value of VEE as a constant, the biasing voltage is constant, and these all resistor values are constant, and this resistance RE is also a constant. Therefore, we can get a constant current when the VBE is a constant voltage. Okay, if the VBE3 is constant, then definitely we will get IE or IC3 as a constant current. Okay, so this is called the constant current source bias method. So in this method, we obtain this equation. In this equation, all are constant values, so that the IE or IC3 is a constant value which offers very high resistance in the emitter branch of our differential amplifier, so that our CMRR, the common mode rejection ratio, will increases. Okay, in this equation all are constants. So here only one problem is VBE3 may vary with the temperature. Okay, the collector current IC3 in the transistor Q3 is fixed because no signal is injected into either the emitter or a base of Q3. The Q3 does not getting any input signal, right? So that's why IC3 is a constant current. The constant current bias is also provides very high source resistance. That's why we are getting more CMRR. As the CMRR is increased, then our circuit is stable circuit and eliminates the common mode signals. Okay, therefore all the performance equations obtained for the differential amplifier using emitter bias is also valid. Okay, so whatever the equations what we got in the last analysis, those are applicable for this analysis too.